Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Donna Gray, and I'm here with Christopher Invidiata and Michael Cruz, the architect and design inspiration behind this property that we're pretty excited today to share with you at 254 Oakhill Road in Mineola West. So just want to give you a little bit of background as to where we are located. Mineola West is pretty much the first affluent neighborhood outside of the west side of Toronto. And we're just along the shores of Lake Ontario, adjacent Port Credit, which has become quite an exciting neighborhood for activity, boating, restaurants, shops, and it's under intense development as well. So when the owners here, they were familiar with the neighborhood, and different locations and lots will obviously have more attributes than perhaps others. And I would say this one, where it's located, it's at a high point in Mineola West. So not only is it at the high point, you're 100 by 200 foot, 100 frontage, 200 foot depth, and your south exposure. So all those elements came in when the homeowners found this property available. They jumped at the opportunity to build their dream home. So here we have the property now available for sale. And we just want to take you through a little collaboration background on the design. The owner is also a pretty experienced low-rise, high-rise, and single-family home builder developer. So that has to be considered here as well, because when you're working with properties of that type of caliber owner, it's above and beyond the construction that goes into the property. So we're pretty excited to share it with you today. We're going to take you on a tour of the property, and I'll hand it over to Christopher.
Thank you, Donna. It's a real pleasure to be here. And Michael, it's a real pleasure to meet you as well. And
thanks for having me.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to tackle a project for an owner like that, and what he knows and what he's trying to impart to you, what he wants to do. So really curious about how you approach a project like this.
Well, it was a wonderful opportunity. It was early on in my career when I stepped out on my own as an architect designer. And so David put a lot of faith into me, and I guess subsequently put a lot of effort into making the house everything it could be for him and his family. Yeah, he came to me with a fairly good idea of kind of what he wanted to do, as far as how the house wanted to relate, or how spaces wanted to work together. He really wanted like the living room, dining room, kitchen, all of that to be part of the outdoor courtyard.
You've done that well. You pulled the inside and outside together.
Very much in this house. That's David and Deanna from the West Coast, so they enjoy spending a lot of time, as much time as they can outdoors. Yeah. So the outdoor component of the house is very key in how it unfolded as far as its arrangement. So the courtyard here in the middle really became quite a key component, and the idea was for the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, and the family room all to work together and to, in fact, meet in the outdoor courtyard.
Yeah. It's a really nice balance.
I like to think so.
Yeah. And the staircase, I have to say, when you walk in, just held me there for like 10 minutes. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
Yeah, it was certainly like a design element, almost like a sculptural element, and an event within the house. And so many of the spaces are like, I guess we can call them smaller events within one kind of walking through the space. But certainly the stair is and should be a central feature within a house. And certainly is in this house, and it culminates also in being a tower element when you actually experience the house from the exterior. So it has so it actually has its presence, from the outside. Really, you don't know it's a stair, but it does have its presence on the outside, so you can make that connection once you've experienced it from the interior.
It's awesome.
I know my first impression when I came here, I was interested and intrigued by the scale of the property from the street, but when I came to the door, expecting it to be the front door, not to come meet the owners for the first time, and then I had a click, buzz, come on in, so I opened the door, and yet I'm now into a open air, like courtyard where it's really not the front door. There's another door that is the front
It's
door.
magical, yeah.
It was really,
Yeah.
it's almost like stop and smell the roses sort of scenario. You want to slow down and scroll to the front door and just look around because it's something you just don't expect. I
It
love
forces
that
you to.
part.
Yeah.
Well, it's again, it's the first introduction to the house again, kind of embracing the outdoors. So even though you are outdoors, but it's a transition. You are not stepping in that front door and boom, you're inside. Like
Right.
you are inside, but you're still
Yeah,
outside.
brilliant.
And then you step
Yeah.
forward, and then you actually get to
Yeah.
the what we call the formal actual front door.
Right.
But we wanted to have a door that had presence on the street
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure.
So that's kind of how that all came about.
I love that word journey because as you go through this house, it becomes discovery. Every room has its own element and
Yeah.
uniqueness
Yes.
to it. So
It
it's
keeps
really-
unfolding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
As
well-
you come through, there's more to it. It just keeps surprising you.
exactly.
The
exactly.
main
Yeah.
floor master.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's every area is art. It's has an element of art to it.
Yeah, like the shape of this, right? This window opening, let's say skylight here. We have the vaulted ceiling in the dining room. We have like a cathedral-like ceiling in the living room. So again, each room and space kind of has its own character as well.
Yeah.
But I like to think that they all come together nicely as a whole.
Yeah.
But I have their individual characters when you're experiencing each room or sitting in each space.
And then interesting how you've created this loft separate with two more bedrooms, but not just two bedrooms, but a common family room, a gathering
Oh, I
place
love that.
between the two rooms, which is
Beautiful.
kind of cool. Yeah. So if you have kids up there or other family members, they can enjoy their TV space. We want
Or
everybody to
homework for
have
kids, right?
Yeah.
homework. Yeah, we can't forget homework.
Well, it just becomes another gathering space, so you don't have to come down here, and if that's
Yeah,
where you
stays up
happen to be
there.
upstairs, and then you have a place to do that as opposed to having to disconnect from that and then be down here.
My last question as well is more, I touched a little bit on it. My first impression was the scale of the home. I think that given the grand size of this lot and set up real high, I think a lot of people may have purchased this lot and created some big mansion. So it's in your face from the street. Tell me a bit about, how you arrived at the scale of this home and what that looked like.
Yeah, well, certainly that would be one's first, take on the lot and trying to indulge in its magnificence. But I don't think this house does it in a very different way. As I touched on before, it embraces the landscape around it and brings it into the home. And from the front, it really was more about it having a quiet confidence on the street and not needing to be it flashy or ostentatious or anything like that, but just to have a nice, firm, quiet confidence on the street, which I think is also very much reflective of its owners and potentially its future owners as well.
Definitely.
I couldn't agree more.
And by that it separates itself out from many of the other homes in the area, which are all beautiful.
Yeah.
But it just does it in a different way.
Well, that's where I have to applaud you and give you some credit as well, because that for me, we see too much of that and we don't see enough of this. So thank you as well.
Thank you.
Pleasure.